Hello, it's Jamie Magridge at my craft table again today. I'd like to show you another card that I came up with today. It's actually a cross between two cards that I think we're going to do. But I want to show you this card. This is the other card that I came up with. And I was thinking maybe I'd do a cross between the two and maybe try to color this one in. But let's just, go down and I'll show you what we need. Sure you can see my work area here. Alright, well, let's get started. I'll put these over here so I can see what I'm doing. Alright, we'll start with the cardstock. We have layers. This is a Whisper White. This one is a heavier weight because if I'm going to color with the blends, I want to try the heavier weight and see if I get a better result. This is 5 1/4 by 4. This is soft suede, which is 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. And I have a piece of crumb cake, which is 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. I have my card base, which is again the heavyweight. It's 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored and folded at 4 1/4, and I have a piece of scrap to stamp and punch out my sentiment. And we're going to be using this Darling label punch for the sentiment. Okay, we're also going to be using the largest stitched oval from the Stitch Shapes framelits and the largest regular oval from the layering oval framelits. I'm going to use this lace one here from Delicate Lace Edgelets. I want to keep it in there temporary. I guess I can put it up here. And we're going to be using the Very Vintage stamp set. For ink pads, we're going to use Memento, Crumb Cake, and Soft Suede. And from the vintage set, we're going to be using the doily, the flowers, this little label, and For You. So quite a bit from there. Okay, I've already got all the stamps mounted. Oh, and the bee, we're going to be using the bee as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my scrap and I'm going to stamp the label with the soft suede. Very nice. I also am going to be using obviously my stamp chamois to clean my stamps with. A few of these metallic pearls, Tombow Mono, and a little scrap of strip of a couple of the papers that I've glued together to add for a decoration on there. Okay, I'll put this aside for a minute because I'm done with it for, well, I'm not done with it, but I'm done with it for that part, but I need it again. And then I'm going to use the Memento for the For You. Stamp it in the center. Oh, fiddle, I messed that up. So let's try that again. I rocked the stamp because I was rushing. Oh, let's get this one back out. Try it again. Stamp that. Looks nice. Don't rock it this time, James. Do it neatly. Much better. Okay, so I'm done with that one. Put them over here here, I guess, the ones I'm done with. Okay. Close that up. Let's punch this out with the punch so we can get the punch off the table. You're going to just center it up in the punch. You hold the punch upside down so you can see what you're punching. Center it. When you get it where you want it, pinch it halfway. And you can use both hands to pinch it. Okay, so we'll put that up here. We're done with this. We're done with the punch. All right. Now we're going to take, put this away for a minute. We're going to take the crumb cake ink. We're going to take the doily, and there's one side of it that looks like it's faded off because it's like a faded doily. It's not a complete doily. And we're going to take the white piece and we're going to ink it with the soft suede. We're going to stamp off once, and then we're going to stamp with the solid portion going at this upper quadrant with the solid portion going out towards that way. Without re-inking, we're going to stamp it again above it and to the right, or to the left. Okay, it's very light, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to ink it up, we're going to stamp it off, and then down here at this bottom we're going to turn it so the open portion is down, and we're going to stamp it a little bit towards the center more, so it's not a straight line, it's a little triangle. Okay, we're done with that. We're done with this lighter ink, so we're going to put it away. Let's brush the stamp off. Get that out of the way. Okay, now I've mounted the bee and the flowers on the same stamp set. I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to turn it upside down. I'm going to ink it this way with the memento. That way I can see what I'm inking. I'm less likely to get the edges of the stamp as well, because it's quite a large stamp. Okay, I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to stamp it over here. I just like to rub over the back of it just to make sure I get it all. So that's very nice. Okay, clean the stamp off. That one over there. Okay, now we're done with the memento. And we're going to take this little strip of flowers and the soft suede ink. We're going to ink it up. And this bottom over here, we're going to stamp over here. And we're going to ink it up. And above it, to the right, we're going to stamp there. I'm going to ink it again. I'm going to stamp once up here. You don't really need to do the 3. And then we're going to stamp once up here towards the top. Not as long as this one. Oh, there's quite a bit of ink on that block. Okay, then clean it off. Clean my fingers off so I don't get ink on anything else. Alright, we're done with the stamping part. Now, we're going to take this, we're going to do some die cutting. First I'm going to die cut the lace edge, and I just have a strip that's scrap from my scrap bin. I'm going to try to line up the, well, it actually has stuff stamped on the back of it, but that's alright. I'm going to line it up, put it on our my die cutting machine. I kind of want it a little bit narrower than the die because I can always trim it, so I guess I'll just cut it, run it through. I have my stamp platform, the thin die adapter. I have a cutting plate, my paper, my die, and another cutting plate. Okay, awesome. Too much on my table. Alright. This is an awesome machine because it cut it out completely in one pass. Completely. It's so awesome. Just tap it off and all those little pieces that are stuck in there comes out with the exception of a couple. Alright, let's put that back in here so I don't lose it. Alright. And all these little pieces will just come right out. Just poke them out. I have done another one just for the sake of time so you don't have to sit here and watch me poke all those pieces out. You can use a die brush. It works pretty well too, but you still end up having to poke out a few pieces. Alright, now I'm going to take the stitched oval and I'm going to line it up over the top of the flowers of the piece that we stamped. I want to make sure it's straight up and down this way, but it's okay if I don't get all of the flowers in. On my big shot, I'm going to turn this plate over because it's wobbling and it's bugging me. Line up the thin. Alright. Line them all up. Another plate on top. And run it through. Okay. And I need a frame to put this on. So we're going to take the next layer, which is the soft suede, and from the center of that we're going to cut the largest of the ovals. And we're done with the big shot, so we can get that off the table and out of the way. These dies are on plates they go on so I don't lose them. I just have magnetic sheets I put them on. Okay. So, now to assemble the card, we're going to have the slider base piece. We're going to mount this, this is crumb cake, and we're going to mount the soft suede piece over the top. It's going to have that 1/8 of an inch border all the way around it. So let's do that first. Just a hair. There we go, that looks good. Okay, this piece is going to go on top of that. Let's go ahead and glue that on. A little bit of glue up here. I think that's glue. Did I get ink on it? Oh, it's glue. It erased right off. Alright. Now we're going to set this aside for a minute. And on this piece, we're going to pop this up with dimensionals. However, I think on this one I want to try and color this part of it. So let's put this aside for a minute. And I'm going to show you on some of the first cards that I did with the... I like the cards, but the coloring itself looked a little bit too dark for me for these. So I'm going to use what's called a tip-to-tip technique so that it's not quite as dark. So on this one, let's see if I can turn this over if it's any cleaner on this side. Less busy. Okay, I'm going to use for the roses, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the little bullet tip. And with the darkest of the Mango Melody, which is the only yellow I have, in the very dark sections of these roses, I'm going to just add a tiny bit of this dark color. I'm just tapping it into the dark spaces. And not everywhere, just a couple little spots here and there. And that's just on the roses. I'm not going to worry about it on the other things. Okay. And I'm going to take the light one and I'm going to color the majority of the rest of it. I don't want it a solid color because I want a little bit of the lightness to show through. And since I don't have any other colors or lighter colors, let me show you how I came up with some lighter colors. Okay, so I took what they call the color lifter. Okay, and I open both markers. I'm going to just touch the color lifter to the marker. It's going to pick up just a little bit of the color, and then when you color it on, it's going to start darker, but it's going to fade out to almost nothing. You can do that. You don't want to hold it for too long because it'll get a lot of color on there. You don't want too much color. You can also just color next to the other color with the color lifter, and it'll blend that color out and make it a softer. So it's called a tip-to-tip technique. If you don't quite have the colors that you need to blend colors out. I have very few colors, so this is an alternative to get all lighter colors. Not so much lighter color. Okay, so I'm done with the yellows. Okay, then I'm just going to scribble off, make sure there's no yellow still in the lifter. See, and it goes clear. Okay, then I'm going to, let's cap the lifter for a minute. I'm going to go ahead and do the green next. And I'm using the light Granny Apple Green. And I'm going to color all the green. And it's alright if you miss spots. You don't have to do perfect. I'm just using this little, the very point of this brush tip. It's alright if you go a little bit out of the lines. Just makes it look antique-y. Or you can use the other end, at the smaller bullet tip end. It's just harder. So it's a harder tip. This one's a little bit softer, a little more flexible. Leaf down here. I think I got all the leaves. There's a couple over here. Okay. Now, for these little flowers down here, I want them blue, and the only blue that I have is the Bermuda Bay, and even the light one is kind of dark. So I'm going to use that tip-to-tip technique again. And I'm going to pick up a little of the Bermuda Bay on this. And then I'm going to start in the center, work my way out. And see how it gives me a nice soft color. Pick up just a little bit of color. Start in the center, work my way out to the outside. By the time I get to the outside, the colors will all off. It gives me a more muted, softer color. I'll wipe that off. I'm going to use this salt to get these little buds. Alright, now these I'm going to do with a purple. And again, my purple's kind of dark. This is the light blackberry bliss. So I'm going to do the same tip-to-tip technique. Grab a little bit of color on my color lifter. Start at the base of the petals. See, even this is dark, even the center, and then go out from there. If you need a little bit more, grab a little bit more. It helps to hold the darker color upright with the tip down, because gravity will work for you then. A little bit on this one. Okay, then there's 3 on this side. Let's do them. Coloring out of the lines. Okay, color this off. Caps on. And color lifter is also good for erasing spots. I'm not going to worry about it on this one. Okay, now I'm going to, oh, I missed a blue one down here. Okay, snap on. Thank you. Alright, so now we're done with markers. So we're going to mount this on top of this brown oval with dimensionals. We have the dimensionals out. We'll find our label that we did earlier. We're just going to put a dimensional on this side of it. The other side's going to be flush with the top of the label, so but I probably should put a couple more on here. I don't need to, but okay, I'm going to pinch them with my nail. Helps pop up the edges so I can grab a hold of it. And just don't pinch too hard, because then you just crease your paper like I just did. Okay, mount it on the soft suede piece. Center it so the edges is even all the way around, or pretty close to even all the way around. Bring back in our card base. Now underneath here, we can do it just like that, but I think I want to add this little lace piece right here. And I'm debating if I want to add this piece on top of it as well. I think I'm just going to do the lace piece, but this kind of adds a little bit more grounding. I think I'm just going to use the lace piece. So let's glue the lace piece on. It's longer than we need. Get it as best centered as you can. And we're going to come in with our scissors. Come on. You're sticking to everything but the card. And right at the edge of the white, I'm going to snip. And I measured it so that it wouldn't be open at the ends there, or tried to. This one's going to be a little bit open, but just stays a little bit nicer that way. I need to add a tiny touch of glue on this because for some reason it isn't staying stuck. All right. I don't remember, did I add dimensionals? No, I didn't put dimensionals under that. This piece gets glued directly to the card base. You could add dimensional if you wanted to, but I didn't. It almost looks like it does because of the lace underneath it. Gives it a little bit of lift. And you're just covering up the circle that you cut out earlier. I think this is called the spotlight. Little glue over here, erase it, collects everything. And this is a rubber, the glue eraser. Oh, I forget what the name of the glue is. Okay, this one. Can go right there. So take the dimensional off of this side, and on this other side you're going to add some glue, wet glue, because that's going to be on top of there. Put it down, center it up. Alright, and then we're going to add a few of these metallic pearls. I like the silver, the gold ones on this one. The silver might be nice too, but I think the gold looked better because of the browns. And I'm going to use my scissors to pick them up. They've got the sharp points so they get underneath it. I think I want one up here. do the triangle. Put one over here. Keep your eye moving around the card. Maybe one over here. There we go. Now we can mount this onto our card base. Line up the edges. There we go. There's our card for today. Here's the original one. You can do it without coloring it in if you'd like. I think it looks just as nice. I like it colored in the softer. And then here's the original cards that I was playing with the darker colors. They're nice, but I don't like them as well. Well, thank you so much for joining me at my craft table again today, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Again, my name is Jamie Magritte. I am a Stampin' Up! Independent demonstrator. So you can, if you see a product that you would like to purchase, you can find me at jamiemagritte.stampinup.net, or you can send me an email at jamiemagritte@yahoo.com. I would also be happy to send you a catalog if you need one. And thank you so much for joining me at my craft table. I look forward to having you join me again next time. Have a great rest of your day.